So welcome, very warm welcome to everybody to attend this conference on the coronavirus, statistical chaos and the news, organized by Bournemouth University, the Royal Statistical Society, and the Association of British Science Writers. We are looking forward to the presentation, the panels, and also the contribution from the audience. Today is promised to be a very exciting day for us all. And thank you again for your attendance. I'm just going to share my screen now. Can you see?
Yep.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so we have a long day today, but I will go through some of the housekeeping things later on. But first of all, I would like to introduce Professor Einar Thorsen, who is a professor of journalism and communication here and the executive dean of the Faculty of Media and Communication at Bournemouth University, to say a few words, to say hello to everybody and welcome everybody. Einar.
Many thanks for the kind introduction, and on behalf of Bournemouth University, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you all to this online symposium entitled, as Anne said, Coronavirus, Statistical Chaos and the News. This is the first event organised by our interdisciplinary research group focusing on health and science communication, which marks our commitment to growing this as a specialist area of study in its own right. And I do also want to echo what Anne said and express my sincere thanks to our co-organisers, the Royal Statistical Society and Association for British Science Writers, for supporting this joint event. We do have an amazing set of speakers lined up today, and I do want to congratulate the organisers for pulling together such an interesting programme. It brings together industry and academia, journalists, scientists, statisticians and media scholars to reflect on how the news media performed in handling and communicating COVID-19 data to the public. Promoting collaboration and shared dialogue between key stakeholders, in other words, so that we can share ideas and new thinking, a common approach, if you like, a shared endeavour to tackle one of the major societal challenges of our time. I do say one, of course, I actually do mean two intertwined challenges: coronavirus pandemic as a global health crisis and misinformation as a challenge to trust in science communication. Data and statistics in the news is nothing new, but in the past year has become front and center of everyday life and news reporting. We've seemed to become overwhelmed with science communication as evolving scientific evidence is used and misused. Suddenly, scientific advices are a regular staple of daily government press briefing, and everyone's an expert in R rates, epidemic simulations, and the conundrum of exponential growth curves and how to flatten them. Or not quite, but what's clear is that scientific process is being played out in the open like never before. Even now, as we're less than a week away from rollout of the first vaccine in the UK, we're seeing competing messages about efficacy rates, storage temperatures, testing programs, medical regulatory requirements, and yesterday, the last minute changes to priority lists for early recipients of the vaccine. So it's rather fitting then that the symposium we're taking part in today has the word chaos in the title. Indeed, misinformation and disinformation is a major challenge in relation to COVID-19 and encouraging compliance with public health messages, or for journalists, digging into the underlying scientific assumptions to scrutinize and hold power to account. These are major societal challenges that we can only begin to tackle if we're collaborating across disciplines. And I hope that today will be the foundation for a stimulating and productive dialogue on how we can take this forwards. I do, of course, wish that we were able to do this in person rather than in an online forum, but we'll have to look forward to welcome you to Bournemouth on a future occasion instead. So for now, I'll resist the temptation to say, next slide, please, and just wish you all a great symposium. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you, Einar. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to, it's really good to have everybody here and to have Einar to come and say hello. And you already said a lot of the things I'm going to say anyway. So thank you very much for that. Just before I go into a little bit about the background of the day, then I've just a few things, kind of housekeeping things here. So first of all, I would like to have to organize this conference between March and October. I started this idea in about March, and then it took a few months to put things together. But one of the person I would really like to thank you is Carol Hayes, who used to be the education and policy manager of ISS, who is now, she just left the organization only a month ago. So it's a shame that she's not here to see this happen, but I'm grateful for her for all of her enthusiastic support during the process of putting in this together. Just a thing you probably already were aware that when you sign up is, this conference is going to be recorded and it will be posted. The recording will be posted on BU and RSF and ABSW websites. If you have any issues with that, please let us know. There is the Q&A window there, and during the presentation, please do ask questions and make any comments through that, and then we will have one person, a few of us will be here to pick up your questions and bring it to the panelists and presenters. We try to have to bring up as many questions as we have, but we have about, hopefully we have about 400 people signing up for the day, so it might not be able, we might not be able to go through all questions, but please understand. Please kindly tweet from the event. We would suggest, you might have your own hashtags or whatever, but we would be grateful if you can use these hashtags if you tweet from this event. If there is any technical or any help that you need during the day, please email my colleague Khánh Horn, who is there on the background to help us together with several other people. So thank you very much. So I just want to go quickly through the background of this deal. So one of the things that when statistics were still not yet a discipline in a university, about 117 years ago, when H.G. Wells, Herbert Wells, who wrote this book called Mankind in the Making, he already predicted a day when, the ability to understand stats already would one day become a very, would soon become, a kind of like the ability to read and to write. And of course, we now, at a time when that already has come, that time has long come. Today, statistics are now the part of the fabric of our life. And, it's become even more so in the increasing, data file world today. Today, if something is not measured, it's not taken seriously in many cases. It needs to be measured in some way. Metrics, everything, everywhere is metrics. In workplace, in hospital, in in society, in community, everything is measured in some way. From the quality of the air we breathe to the leader we choose, everybody, everything. But so people really badly need to understand numbers and numbers in context, because numbers themselves don't speak for themselves. They need to become informed and self-governed citizens in many ways through understanding statistics, data and statistics in context, to respond properly to the measured world, to resist the tendency to put unconditional faith in numbers, and also to be less vulnerable to a lot of political, commercial, religious manipulation of their hopes and fears using data, or So, and it has, at the same time, because of the importance of statistics and data, it's becoming, a chaotic world. Even before COVID-19, we've seen this, especially since in the past few years in the Brexit campaign. Remember that burst $350 million, to fund the NHS. Big lie that win the referendum in many ways. We have people now, statisticians, for example, are using any sort of number in a way that what they Tim Harford calls statistical bullshit. I'm sorry to use that term, but I like that term a lot. They sort of, they put forward numbers not really because it's true or false, but it is because it sells a message, it stirs emotion, it catches attention, and that's it. They don't bother about the truth or what is behind the data or whatever. And you know, with social media, it's becoming so much, you know, all you need a click and make it, you know, spread all over the social media, and it's becoming so, you know, dangerous for our public and private life in many ways. And we have seen that, especially in the past few months with this COVID-19, where we have, you know, it's like a new culminating point of, you know, this chaos in it, you know, where you see, you know, all sort of numbers, everything we do in the past few months depends on what the numbers tell us. But the numbers that are communicated to us are not always at, you know, at the level that we would expect them to be, you know, transparent, you know, to tell the truth. You know, especially if you look at the briefing at number 10, the press briefing at number 10 during lockdown, and you know, until now, you know, Professor and Sir David Spiegel to call it a number theater. I'm very pleased that David is going to be here today in an hour or so to lead a panel. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And you see, all of the lies are being spread, you know, numbers are given out of context, you know, definition of things are being changed day by day, I mean, month by month, week by week, you know, that's what are that, you know, how do you define that? That's right, all of those things. And then when we talk too much about the number, we tend to forget, you know, the people behind the numbers too. We have 60,000 people, you know, dying from coronavirus, but after each death, it's a lot of trauma, it's a lot of you know, sufferings, and we tend to forget because all of them are being communicated in a kind of accumulated number. So I'm hoping today is we look at this. What are, for journalism, it's critically important for journalism to communicate and to tackle this chaos in a way, working with scientists and statisticians. And I hope, you know, these are the questions that we would like to the conference today to be, you know, to address in some way or another. You know, what are the key challenges to journalism in reporting this, you know, constantly changing flow of COVID-19? Does it change mind? Does it, you know, alter hearts? Does it make people, you know, feel responsible to take actions? How do journalists, you know, what are the kind of methods, techniques that journalists use to communicate statistics to make people, to help people to make sense of that, and to actually also to resist that sort of, you know, lies and damn lies, or whatever what we call it, you know? And how do scientists and statisticians work with each other? How have they been working effectively with each other in helping people to understand the, you know, the pandemic through data or not? These are the kind of questions that we will, you know, address today. And this is my hope and my starting point, you know, is we today we have senior journalists, senior statisticians, senior scientists from all over the UK coming together, and my hope is, you know, because this is my view in when I do my research, you know, science and journalism tend to be seen as two worlds apart. I don't think it is the case. Journalism and science journalism, you know, they might have different methods, different priorities, but both have one ultimate aim, is to seek the truth through about the world through rigorous verification, you know, different methods, but still the same kind of purposes. And both have very high stakes in communicating, you know, public data and statistics to the public in different ways. And I hope that, you know, there is an urgently needed, you know, partnership to be built on mutual understanding between science and journalism. And I would hope that, you know, this today is going to be to contribute in some way to that understanding and partnership. And with that in mind, I'm very pleased to pass it to Mr. Andy Ashton, who is the chair of the Association of British Science Writers, to chair a session with the keynote speech by Professor Kevin McConway, who is emeritus professor of applied statistics, who most of you probably will recognize his name because he's in the media quite often, talking about statistics in the news. And he used to be the former the vice president for academic affairs, the ISS too. So over to you, Kevin and Andy.